So guys, we've got breaking news. Apparently, Donald Trump has decided to attack ranchers, saying they don't understand. Seriously, this is the headline. Trump says U.S. cattle ranchers, quote, don't understand tariffs after some slam Argentine beef plan. And if you've been following this story, Trump's plan is to bail out Argentina. First it was $20 billion, now it's $40 billion. And we want to buy a whole bunch of Argentine beef, right? That is actually the plan. So then people who are, in the USA, cattle ranchers are like, yo, what the heck is going on? That's a big WTF. And this is the actual tweet. It just came out. It says here, the cattle ranchers who I love, that's according to Trump, he loves everyone, I guess, who I love, don't understand, wow, that the only reason they are doing so well for the first time in decades is because I put tariffs on cattle coming into the United States. So according to Trump, right, you just don't understand. You're just too stupid, you cattle ranchers. Trump loves you, and he is the expert on everything, I guess. And remember, we're also planning to buy a bunch of Argentine beef, I suppose. It says here, the first time in decades is because I put tariffs on cattle coming to the United States, including a 50% tariff on Brazil. If it weren't for me, they would be doing just as they've done for the past 20 years. Terrible, right? So he's telling you he loves you and you are terrible at the same time. That's Trump language. It would be nice if they would understand that, but they have also to get their prices down because the consumer is a very big factor in my thinking also, okay? So Trump is saying, you cattle ranchers, stop complaining. He wants that Argentine beef, and you just don't understand. And it's interesting because Trump is starting to lose his conservative base. And I want to show you some of the comments on this thing. Here's one here. And this is a melee. So Trump screwed over American farmers just to buy beef from this guy. And yes, and we're bailing him out. And if you don't know, a lot of, whoa, what the heck? This is Tommy Lahren, and I'm just going through this stuff. So that's a big conservative person. So she's like, why the actual F would we buy Argentine beef? Our American ranchers are getting crushed already by cheap stuff. Boy, she swears a lot. Foreign beef imports. The meat packers are already undercutting our American producers as it is. This is an outrage. And again, Trump's plan is to buy Argentine beef. Yeah. Another person saying, correct. We have enough meat here. And can realistically double our capacity with the right moves. The Argentine beef's a weird one. I mean, this is even Trump talking about this. Let's listen here.
Question is, what do you have to say to U.S. farmers who feel that the deal is benefiting Argentina more than it is them, as they are
Argentina's fighting for its life, young lady. You don't know anything about it. They're fighting for their life. Nothing's benefiting Argentina. They're fighting for their life. You understand what that means? They have no money. They have no anything. They're fighting so hard to survive. If I can help them survive in a free world, I happen to like the president of Argentina. I think he's trying to do the best he can. But don't make it sound like they're doing great. They are dying. All right? They're dying.
What do you mean by being?
Question is, what do you have to...
They're dying. They're dying. I really don't know what he's talking about, to be honest. I mean, I'll just say this. He increasingly shows signs of dementia. He kind of goes back to his greatest hits when in doubt. These days, if you question him, he'll just tell you you're stupid, you don't understand. And this is, the biggest problem with Trump. And there's a lot of problems. There's a lot of problems with Trump. But let's just say this. Anything and anyone who knows about good leadership is you listen to the people that you're working with, right? It is the complete opposite. Like Trump is, I said, the anti-coach. You can call him something else, anti-this. But, like I said, the coach is the idea that brings out the best in people, right? So Trump is like the opposite, brings out the worst in people, or ridicules you if you don't like his plan, or if you're like point out where it just doesn't make sense. And this is where, like I was saying, a good leader listens. So for example, leadership would be literally go to the ranchers and say, tell me your situation. let's work together to figure it out, right? Or you pick another industry, go to your chip makers, tell me your situation, let's figure out what's going on. Or you go to the opposition party, for example, and say, okay, what do you want? How do we work a deal? How can we bring America together? This is what we're talking about, right? And every time we look at what Trump's doing, it's like the opposite of what a good leader would do. The way he behaves is like, I love you cattle ranchers, but you just don't understand. I mean, that's his mentality here. And this is interesting when you read, I mean, because the Tomi Lahren thing is actually a big deal because she's a big right-wing person and she's against the Trump stuff. Wow, imagine losing Tomi Lahren when even your loudest cheerleaders start screaming about American beef and calling your trade policy an outrage. It's over. Yeah, Trump's America first just outsourced dinner. Ouch. Here's another person. It's fun to read these different ones. Ugh, I can't stand this racist little stuff. I rarely use the C word, but in her case, I feel it's appropriate. Okay. Another person writes, it's from Newsmax. President Trump's plan to cut record beef prices by importing more meat from Argentina is running into heated opposition from U.S. ranchers who are enjoying some rare profitable years and skepticism from experts who say the president's move probably wouldn't lead to lower prices. And I'd like to hear from you all in the U.S. What are you paying these days for meat? And it's not just meat. I know a lot of food is expensive. And this is actually interesting because Trump is actually then admitting, and then even Newsmax, I guess, because this would be right wing, that prices are high, right? But they also try to tell you every day that inflation is, zero, and it's so awesome under Trump. Everything is great. Like they always pull these games, where it's like more than one thing. What is this one here? Gavin Newsom, is that a joke? I don't know. You never know these days. Gavin Newsom knows exactly what Trump's doing as a cost of beef continues to skyrocket, and Trump gives $40 billion taxpayer dollars to bail out his far-right buddy in Argentina. In a further slap in the face to American farmers, Trump plans to import foreign beef into the USA. And there's Tomi Lahren. Oh, is this another one? Okay, let's see what she's reading. She says, the first step in mandatory country of origin labeling on all beef products allow our superior American ranchers to differentiate their product and not be undercut by meat packers who currently have no obligation to differentiate cheap foreign stuff from superior American. So I'll push back on that one. This is an assumption that, remember, she's more right-wing, but I just want to address it. Some people make the assumption that the American beef is the best beef in the world. I'll just say this. Other countries beg to differ. If you follow the channel, you know this. People in Australia, they would say their beef is the best in the world. Actually, people here in Korea would say also, hey, Korean beef's the best beef in the world. People in Japan will say the same thing. I know those three are very proud of their meat products. I'd like to hear thoughts of Canada, if you would say your beef is the best. I'll also say this. There are many times when other countries don't want to take American food because it doesn't meet the standards. It just doesn't. A big one is the tracing, meaning that like if the meat is going from, say, Canada to Mexico and USA, like, say, all three countries, and it's not really clear the exact origin, other countries are just like, it's not clear. We're just not going to take your meat. Or if you're injecting chemicals or whatever, a thing in the meat, it just doesn't meet, again, other country standards. And so this idea that American beef is the best in the world, I would disagree. I'd like to hear from thoughts in Europe on that one. When you go to the store, where's American beef? I'll just tell you, here in Korea, we have Korean, Australian, and American are kind of the three when we go to the grocery store. Korean beef is the most expensive. It's quite good. It's really a lot. I mean, when you see the price, you're like, dang. Then there's Australian. I'll tell you the truth. We tend to buy more Australian beef. We eat it. And then there's American, which is the cheapest. It is. It's just, and its price and quality tend to go hand in hand. You eat the Korean meat on special occasion, or some people even eat it quite a bit. I'll just say the costs come in quite a lot more. But the reason is because, the way they feed their animals and the way they take care of the whole, process, it's done very, very well. So the taste is quite good. But I'm just telling you guys, the Australian beef is really good. And it's not just Australian beef, that we get other products from Australia as well. And there are other countries out there also. I've had Japanese beef. It's quite good, I can just tell you. Very, very good. Kobe steak is obviously, very good if you ever tried it. But there's other places out there. And like I said, I'd like to hear from people in Europe. And I'm sure that there's other countries also, like Canada's probably gonna be like, yo, our beef's pretty good too. Also, I have no comment on that one. I just don't, we don't get that much over here from Canada. But it's interesting here. Here's another one. This person says here, just responds to Tommy, calm the hell down. You're talking out of your butt with zero facts. People need to stop trashing Trump over the Argentinian beef deal and actually learn what's going on. Beef prices are sky high because America's cattle herd is the smallest it's been in decades. So actually, there's a good conversation about that stuff. So my understanding, I think in some parts of the USA, I think there might be a drought, I've heard. So they've had difficulty with the cattle. The other issue as well is I think America could actually cut down on their beef eating, and it would actually improve the environment. There was an article about that recently. But that doesn't necessarily have to do with cost per se, but I think this part is correct. It's not just the foreign meat thing. But this is a obviously sensitive topic for many people, and this is sort of where I'm willing to have conversations about the stuff. I'd like to hear from you guys. That's why I ask you your costs. I literally ask you, and I just think the Trump demonstrates poor leadership all around, and you see it every day on a daily basis. So that's the news. Then Trump says U.S. cattle ranchers don't understand tariffs after some slam Argentine beef plan. Love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you all in the next video.